We've got another addition to Fox's Animation Domination Sunday block. Let's talk about Grimsburg. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the new animated show Grimsburg. This is airing Sunday nights on Fox, and it is going to wrap up its first season in a few weeks. It was renewed for season 2 before season 1 even aired, so we will be getting a season 2 of this probably in the fall, I guess. But this is, fitting right in with The Simpsons and Bob's Burgers and Family Guy and all of these shows that are permeating the Sunday night lineup on Fox. Before we launch into the specifics, though, of this show, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day I try to post something new. So always a lot to check out. We've got playlists on the homepage as well to kind of streamline your experience a little bit more if you're looking specifically for movies and TV shows and whatever. And I have them listed by year as well. So with that in mind, please consider subscribing, click that like button, and comment below. All right, so Grimsburg, this is the latest addition to the Sunday lineup, and we've got Jon Hamm voicing Marvin Flute, who is a detective in this town, Grimsburg, where it's just a whole bunch of stuff happens all the time. It's like sort of like a play, I think, on Murder, She Wrote, which is like, this small little town that had a different murder every week and all this stuff. So he voices the main role, along with Aaron Hayes plays his ex-wife, Harmony, and Rachel Dratch plays their kid, Stan Flute, who is, kind of estranged from the father and, really, really wants to make a connection there. You've got two great voice actors as a part of this as well. Alan Tudyk, who of course does some great live action roles as well, currently on Resident Alien. But he, has voiced small roles in the last 8 Disney movies or something. But he plays a couple of people here, including Stan's imaginary friend, who's like a skeleton, and then Kevin Michael Richardson, who is like the go-to for animated shows and movies. He's voiced over 100 characters, including probably most notably a run on the animated Batman movies as the Joker. But he plays one of the other detectives who happens to be a cyborg after an incident on the force. And you've got a lot of recurring voices here as well. E.G. Daily, who's voiced a ton of things over the years. Rosie Perez, Wendy McLennan-Covey. So a lot of star power here, as you would expect these days with anything animated, right? We always have to get a big, professional A-list actor to do, the lead voice in a lot of these things anymore. Which is kind of a shame for voice actors, like when The Simpsons came on the air, I think Julie Kavner was probably the only one that really had, any kind of star power. She was on Rhoda, and then she was on the Tracy Ullman Show. But nowadays, of course, you have to have the A-lister. But one of the positives of this show is Jon Hamm actually is putting on a voice. He's not just doing Jon Hamm. It's one of my biggest issues with people who have various roles in shows and movies, and I always harp on Awkwafina, but that's a great example. She's just always Awkwafina doing her shtick as whatever character. This does not sound like Jon Hamm, unless you're really like, okay, I can kind of hear it sometimes, but he's putting on like this gruffer voice, and so that's kind of fun. And Christina Hendricks is part of this as well, as more of a recurring character, I guess. But of course she was on Mad Men as well. But anyway, so this is fitting right in, like I said, kind of with that Sunday night lineup. It's got the sensibilities of like a Family Guy, trying to tug on the heartstrings a little bit more, though, like maybe Bob's Burgers in some cases. I think, boy, oh boy, I think the whole Family Guy style of animated comedy just has never really worked for me. I like a story, and the Family Guy is just joke, bunch of setups, bunch of like non sequiturs. It can be funny in small doses, but I don't particularly care for a whole half-hour show of that. I never really have. The plots on Family Guy are so thin just because they want to pack the jokes in. I think there's a little too much of that here with Grimsburg. I think they're trying to do a lot of jokes, throw them in, every 3-4 seconds there's a new joke. It's okay to let a script actually breathe. I think that's where Bob's Burgers shines. Bob's Burgers very funny, and it does have a lot of sort of randomness to the characters and stuff, but it's a lot more of a story driven show. Which The Great North is another good example. That's a current show. I think it's done its season, but might be back in the fall. But that's on Fox's Sunday night lineup as well, and a lot of similar things, with that. It's really about the family. But one of my other issues with this show, other than the rapid fire of the jokes, which, by the way, if you have that many jokes, I guess you hope that enough of them land that it's cool. But like the joke ratio here is probably like 60-40. Like, yeah, there's some good ones, but there's also some stinkers there too. So maybe take those out and give us more story. I don't know. But no, the other thing is they're trying to do too much with the quirkiness of the characters. So, for example, you've got the cyborg already, but we learned in the first episode that Grimsburg's ex-wife was raised by wolves. So, okay, now, or raised by bears rather. So she's got, that thing going on. And then it's like, and then there's just too much. And then the imaginary friend, Alan Tudyk's character, it's just like a skeleton. There's too much of that sort of, okay, let's kind of throw a bunch of stuff in there, rather than giving us more down-to-earth characters. Not that every animated show has to have down-to-earth characters. Certainly, some of the most famous ones don't. The Simpsons started out down-to-earth. I'll say that, but obviously, in the last, 25 years, they've gone, far off the rails with that. But, so I don't need to necessarily see realistic characters. I just think at some point we have to focus a little bit on the characters that there are and the real worldliness of them. And that's what makes the Great North work. Like, you have the Alanis Morissette, imaginary friend thing going on for the one character, but then, everybody else is, I wouldn't say normal, but, so anyway, this is sort of a mixed bag of things that make the Animation Domination lineup work and things that maybe do not all the time. So with that, I will leave this with a slight positive. I do think the Jon Hamm voice performance is pretty good. For somebody who's heard and seen Jon Hamm in a lot of things, I don't know that I could have necessarily picked out right away that this was Jon Hamm. And I think that is a very good thing. I think more shows need to do that. I will leave Grimsburg with a B-. And you can check it out Sundays on Fox. All right. Thank you for watching. Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time.